so the shifters hadn't had their furry asses zapped by her. But there had been a lot of detention handed out. I shook my head at the soulful expression on my familiar's face. No. Tizzy skittered up my arm and flicked my ear to get my attention. This could be a great way for the town to get to know the new sheriff. Chief of Police, I corrected, but only because the Grand Inquisitor, Clementine Battles, a.k.a. my grandmother, had insisted I take the job. I'd owed her 2 favors. Handling a thorn in her side, Adele Adams, had counted as favor number 1, and staying in Paradise Falls and taking the job had been favor number 2. She'd shown up in Paradise Falls twice since we'd fought a rogue witch who'd joined with some shifters to pull off some horrific druidic magic that included killing my best friend's brother and almost killing my friend as well. I was more grateful than I could say for her help, but I still harbored some major resentment for her part in jailing my dad, her son. Sure, everyone thought he'd murdered my mother, and no one could predict it was an unbinding spell gone wrong. However, Clementine was his mother. She should have protected him. I shook my head. Maybe I'd lived out in the human world for too long. Maybe expecting a witch, especially an old one, to choose her child over her duty was too much to ask. If it came down to it, would my father choose me? I am the chief of police, I said again, mostly because it still sounded so weird to say it out loud. The squirrel ignored me, obviously encouraged by this new line of thinking. You know, it could be a total public relations event. All the little fur babies and witchlets and their parents. I shook my hands at her in a mock scary wave, having the crap frightened out of them by a flying squirrel. I took another sip of coffee, sweet with just the right amount of French vanilla creamer, but it had already started to cool down. You realize the whole town is full of very real and very scary monsters, right? A bowl of noodles and peeled grapes isn't likely to impress anyone. We really had been gone from town too long if Tizzy thought anything about Halloween in Paradise Falls might resemble a human celebration. We could do a demon theme with splashes of blood all over the walls, some black light highlighting ghostly handprints, and shrieking sound effects coming from the basement, as if the bowels of hell have opened up to let all the demons out. That's not happening, a deep voice interrupted. I like the color of my walls. Ford walked into the kitchen wearing tight jeans and a sky blue tight t-shirt. Whew, damn, he made my libido zing. Our walls, I reminded my grumpy but undeniably sexy mate. Good morning, Ford. As I glanced at my mate, all 6 feet 9 inches of him, I stifled a girlish giggle. I'd found out several months earlier that we were true mates, like shifter mates, even though I'm a witch. With shifters, it's a scent thing. To me, he smells like spicy desserts, and to him, I smell like vanilla and rum. It's a long story that involves a sloppy, drunken kiss our senior year. How was I to know my bold, drunken move would imprint me on him? I was 17 for the love of red velvet cake, but looking at him now, I regretted nothing. Except not spending the last 17 years in his arms. He was broad-shouldered, and his light blue eyes were bright in contrast to his chocolate-colored hair. It had grown out a couple of inches into a mop of thick curls, just the way I liked it. There was nothing like grabbing a handful of his soft, silky mane while hollering his name. You get my point. He had, however, shaved his short beard. Twice I'd gotten teased at the police station about the rug rash on my face, and that was enough to make me insist on him taking a razor to his scruff twice a day. He kissed my cheek.